He then said, well, at least it's not as bad as Irish people. Irish people talk like they have a potato in their mouth. He said, listen, before you keep going, I think you should know that my wife is half Irish. Am I the only one that finds that offensive? I mean, I'm not talking about the accent part. That happens to people with accents all the time. I'm talking about his choice of tutor. From all the root vegetables he could have chosen, he went with potatoes.
I prefer my ancestry. I come from a long line of men that knew the value of a speedy ejaculation. No gorillas got to us. All I'm saying is that if sex was a race, the men in my family always came first. We're the original creators of Vini Vidi Vini. I came, I saw, I came. I imagine the elders in these prehistoric times talking and passing their wisdom to the younger generation. You want to go for 3-4 pumps max to ensure the preservation of our species and to avoid any gorilla attacks. There's always a fucking knucklehead challenging the tribal wisdom. Oh man, you're wrong. You have to ensure everyone's needs are met. Also, how arrogant of you to think that you can outpace a gorilla. To which the old man responds, I don't need to outpace the gorilla, motherfucker. I need to outpace the woman I'm having sex with.
There's a math teacher who is from Spain who would mumble through his teeth, me cago en la, I shit on the. He would bring his hand to his mouth, self-conscious of his smoker breath, and mumble, me cago en la, at our mediocrity in mathematics. Later, we, the students, found out that he meant the mother. That's how you ended that insult. Me cago en la madre. Which, it didn't really bother me because my mom never really came to my parent-teacher conferences. So I didn't really have to worry about her getting pooped on. And it was far better than what happened to my more arithmetically challenged classmates who were unexpectedly thrown chalk pieces at their head. And the chalk eraser in the case of the lost cause students. If you were in creases with chalk in your hair, then we knew you were going to struggle in school and very likely life. Later, I found out that the actual ending to the insult is la leche, the milk, and not the mother like we had originally thought, which is equally as disturbing because brown is a high contrast color to white. When you use the mother as a subject to shit on, the proper grammatical formation is me cago en tu madre, shit on your mother. The syntax is made clear by saying whose mother you're taking a poop on, so as not to create confusion. One of the things that I noticed the first time I went to a restaurant here, I said, oh, holy shit, look at all these hunkies. I didn't say that. But I did say, notice how I am the only brown person in here. And it doesn't mean anything. Hello, people have always been very welcoming to me. They say hello, they smile, they ask me what my landscaping grades are. I do not have a landscaping business. It does give me comfort to know that I could. My mom was remodeling her house, and she was at the hardware store looking for coffee, and she was overwhelmed by all the options. And at that time, I was a construction manager, so I used my expertise to guide her. So I just said, Mom, the guys in my crew swear by this new brand. It's called the Big Black Cock. Now, cock and cock sound exactly the same, especially in the mouth of a ESL speaker. The cock doesn't care that the mouth has an accent. Now, I didn't want to make that joke, but I wanted to get ahead of it because somebody was going to make it. It is low-hanging fruit, and it's not fair. I don't want to be upset with him for making that joke. I thought of the joke first. That's what I did. And to be honest, I thought my mom would just return. Carlos, you're an idiot. That is a tasteless joke. And I'm your mother. End of conversation, click. And I would have blamed my dad because he wasn't around when I made these kind of jokes. I never had somebody say, hey, that's your mother, show some respect. But yeah, don't forget that it is my mother, so please show some respect. And let's just stay focused on the fact that I sent my mom on the hunt for good deals on like big laptop.
And I wish I could tell you that was the last time I had an encounter with the police and my mom. While I was driving through Petaluma, I came to a stop sign and I pulled what is commonly known as a California roll. If you don't know what a California roll is, it's not only the sushi with fake crab. It is also the name for when you come to the stop sign and pretend to stop, but you don't, and you go really hard, there are no cops around. And in this case, I was in Solano. I was pulled over. And I was worried I had been pulled over. My car registration had expired, and I was in the middle of transferring the title to my name. And I was on the phone with my mom, so I told her, you know what, I need to call you when I'm done talking to the cop. So I hung on the phone, and I put it on the cupboard. I lowered the window, and as the policeman reached my window, my mom called me on FaceTime. The phone, with a mind of his own, just answered the call. I'm trying to look at the cop, but from the corner of my eye, I can see my mom with a pained look on her face, just frantically waving a piece of paper at the screen and shouting, "Mr. Policeman, I am the owner of the car, Mr. Policeman. Look at the title, Mr. Policeman. I have it right here. Look at the title, Mr. Policeman."
It was very stressful. I had my client next to me, and every time I tried to start a conversation, I would be interrupted. So the reason you should come with us, honk. Do you have Chinese when you're honk? I really think that you should honk. Finally, I told my client, forget it. I'm not doing this. I'm not talking to you the rest of the night. Of course, he didn't hear that because he was completely drowned by all the sounds. I don't know if you've ever had this culinary experience that you're just enveloped by it and you forget about everything surrounding you and everything becomes just this soothing, comforting white noise. You know what I'm talking about? Well, this wasn't it. We found out that nobody in the service staff actually spoke any English. And the way they get around that is by giving people iPads so they can order from them. We passed the iPads around, everybody got a little bit of something, and we just sat there, completely silenced, because we couldn't get a word sideways because of all the celebrations. When the food starts coming out, we got into this weird musical chair dance game where we would look at the plate and think, no, this is not mine, and then we will pass it on to the next person, and that person would say, no, this is not mine, and then they will pass it on to the next person. And I would keep going until I make it to the first person that made the pass, and then they will be like, no, still not mine. And that happened with every dish we ordered. It happened for about an hour until we finally stopped it. I was a little worried because with my boss being gone, I was going to be responsible for the tab. And when I finally got it, I grabbed it, and it just scrolled down like a papyrus roll. And I couldn't figure out if I was at a Chinese restaurant or a CVS pharmacy. He also told me that he was white on the outside, but actually brown on the inside. And I didn't really know what to do about that. I had never really heard that before. So, not really knowing what to do with this man, Lee had convinced me that he was just like a reverse almond joy. I decided to go introduce myself to everyone else in the bar again. I met an off-duty bartender, and I don't really know why, but I told him how my wife and I had a water birth at home.